push record. So the recording has started. Just be aware, I can't see you. So when the recording is uploaded to Zoom, you will only see me speaking. You won't see you in the background. But just be mindful that once we stop recording at the end, you guys will all be back on gallery view, and I won't be recording the gallery view. So any of the questions that come through at the end won't be recorded, but please feel free to pop any of those in the chat. So welcome to our first Zoom. This is pretty exciting. We today are going to be covering off planner setup and daily use. So it's the 30th of December for most of you. It's actually the 31st of December here in Australia. So we kick off to our new planners essentially tomorrow. So the planner that I use for my everyday use starts on the 1st of January, a blank page. Isn't that exciting? I love that, right? It's the opportunity to start fresh and think about what it is that we're going to do this year. So one of the questions that I actually had sent to me during the week was, what do I do with my planner pages? So for my art, many of you will know my planner. Like this girl, she's a hardworking girl. She pretty chunky, still needs a bit of a clean out, but I want to transpose some of the information that I've captured here into my this year's pages. So I haven't done a complete clean out of her yet. That's actually on my to-do list to do today. But I was asked, because she's ring bound, what do I do with the pages that I take out? So here they are. This is December. And, you know, like I'm not sure you can see, but quite a bit of writing throughout. So what I do when I take the pages out is I go through and just make sure, is there anything that I need to keep in these pages? Or is it literally to-do list? Did I cross them all off? Is there anything that I missed? Is there anything that I need to keep a track of? And if I do, then I transpose it back in to the pages of my planner. Now, the way I work my planners is slightly different and is probably quite advanced because I use a system called Getting Things Done. And this system is actually really great in its design in that it is basically works off a master to-do list, which is there. And I can add a copy of this. This is a May Paper Co insert. It's one of their dashboards. And essentially it is a system for devising a to-do list. And broken down in its most simplest terms, it is you have a master to-do list. And as you go through that master to-do list and you put those tasks on the day, it's like, can I do it now? Is it going to take me less than 2 minutes? Do it now. Is it something that's going to take a little bit longer? Then you need to break it down and put those tasks on the various days. So I use a master to-do list in its simplest form in that format. And it runs literally as an inbox. So this is kind of the first page of my master to-do list. And then I migrate those tasks onto the days. Now, my inbox, the simplest terms, is a brain dump. It literally is something comes into my head. Am I going to do it now? Do I need to action it? Do I need to put it on a day of the week where I'm going to action it and then make your to-do list? So don't get caught up in any of that. It's literally just a way of managing a master to-do list. Now, you don't have to do that. And in fact, this year, I've actually changed the layout of my pages, and I'm going to a weekly view for my art business. And this is literally a week on one page and a blank page on the other. And that blank page is literally to capture ideas, pages I want to look at, artists I want to follow. Somebody might mention a podcast, I'll put it here so I can go back and have a look. So this is what I take. Those of us that are in Insider Studio, I have this with me when we do Open Studio and people are talking about all sorts of different things or products or supplies, and this is where I will note that down. So those of you with a daily spread, and I know a few of you have got these little Hobonichis, On the daily spread, there's plenty of space there. Because it's not formatted in any way, there is plenty of space there to jot things down. Now, because I'm operating 2 planner systems, and you might go, what on earth is she doing that for? It's literally because this girl got so heavy to carry around with me. And because I have information in her that I don't really need on the daily, I've decided to leave her here sitting on my desk and carry this little with me. So this is an A6 and it's small. I'll take it out of its cover. And those of you who know, like this is it. This is it. This is all I will be carrying with me. What will I be doing in here? I will be keeping, and I've ruled up that first page so that you can see. So I put times down the side here. I'll rule a line in the middle, and this literally will be my to-do list. So this is everything not related to art or potentially related to art that I've not covered off in the morning, but I need to do during the day. So my day is broken up into morning routine, then work, and then at the end of the day, it's usually family and potentially a bit of research or podcasts or something like that at the very end of the day. My day is pretty much always the same. So when I get up in the morning, it's this girl I'll be looking at, which is all of my art. What am I posting on the daily? It's all of that daily type stuff. And then I'll move into this, which is literally anything that I've not managed to do from my art on the daily, plus also any other scheduled appointments. So family commitments. Those of you that follow my Instagram page will know that I talked about Tiger Time, which is that most precious time where you commit to doing what it is that you're going to commit to during that time with no interruptions. So for me, it's the early morning, and I track at the front of this book. There's a great monthly breakdown. So I am going to be tracking, this is December, what I do here. So color coded, and I'm tracking that I posted in the Organised Artist, the Alison Lake Art, that I've done the newsletter on the Thursday night for me, that when I've gone live, and there's a couple of other things there that I've not started yet. So I'm not sure why I put it in December. I think I was a bit optimistic, but literally I'm tracking there where I do that. But those of you that have got these planners, and I know there's a couple on this recording, you can also, if you make notes on the various pages, you can also use this as a great index page. But how does all of this work? So in a planner that you purchase from the shop, and if you haven't, I really encourage you to do so, or to download the pages and print off the pages that I added to the Facebook page. Let's start with the biggest commodity. The biggest commodity is a year in view. So let's have a look at the front of this one, because I haven't really got a year in view like that. But essentially it is 12 months broken down, and what are you going to do each month? Those of you that can read this are going to absolutely laugh. Can you see what's in February? Harry Styles. Clearly that's going to come out of my art planner and go into my personal planner. But this is my year in view. And so it is the whole calendar broken down, and I'll be putting there things like collections. When am I going to issue or launch my collections? And what does the lead up to each one of those look like? And we're going to cover that off next week in goal setting. We're going to dive into what is it we want to do this year, and then how do we break down those steps into tiny chunks and put something on our to-do list every day so that we achieve our goals. So in its simplest form, a year is basically the whole overview of what that looks like. If you've been into the Facebook post that I had around some of my favorite art supplies, you will have seen this. So this is the year in view, and I've put the link to it. I purchased that from another artist, and I printed that in size A2, which is the recommended size that she has developed this for. You can go smaller to A3, you can go larger to poster size, which is A1. Now, what I plan to do with this, and what I suggest you do with a yearly overview, is next week when we do goal setting, is we're going to block out when our launches are going to be. So I'm going to color code this calendar when our launches are going to be, and then we're going to color code in a different color the lead up to those launches, and we're going to plan out what that looks like. Now, I've already set some goals around what I want that to look like for my art business, and I'll share with you. I want to set a stretch goal, which I'm hoping I can achieve, and that is to sell 100 pieces of art during 2023. So how am I going to do that? Like, I need to think about the size of the collections. How many each do I need to sell? When do I need to do that by? I know that I'm traveling for 2 months of next year. So that's September, October. When I come back is kind of November. That's really close to Christmas. So it's like, wow, now I've basically got between January and September to sell 100 pieces of art, right? So it's thinking and breaking it down about how you're going to do it and how you're going to diary to make sure that this is achievable. So by doing it in a calendar overview, and I'll be doing it on this, and I'll also be doing it on the overview in my planner, I'll be noting down collection launch date and then working back to go, okay, so my lead in, so what do I need to do on social media? What does that lead in look like? And I'm going to diary those off as well and commit to doing that so that I'm good to go at launch time. Now, those of you that don't work in collections, that do individual pieces, that kind of doesn't apply to you so much. But let's have a chat next week when we're doing some goal setting around, you know, what does it look like? So if you're painting 3 or 4 pieces and then putting them up in your Etsy store, what does that look like? And to be honest with you, I think the tact for that is a little bit different. It's more about making sure that you're promoting those pieces and that you're talking about where to buy them as you do them. So it's about building up the excitement and then showcasing them going into your Etsy store. So we will break all of that down next week when we talk about goal setting. But I just wanted to get your head into how are you going to use your yearly calendar? You're going to use it to break down what your goals are and then what you need to do into the lead up of those chunks of time so you can set yourself up for the best success. Now, so where I have this is basically a yearly overview, but with limited space. Most of you will have something that has got squares in it, even like if we go back to my little A6, so even if it's kind of like that, or it's got the months in view as well. So the months in view, and I'm just going to flip to this because I know that I still have one from December that I didn't use. So a month in view will often look like that. All right. So we've got our big overall year. So we know what we're doing on the yearly. Once it gets down to December, then, or a month in particular, not necessarily December, we need to take our yearly view and transpose it to our monthly view. All right. In my planner this year, and actually in both planners, I've scrapped the monthly view. You can see I don't use it, right? To be honest, I'm flat out keeping an eye on what I've committed to on the yearly and then to break it down to a weekly. So I prefer a yearly and then a weekly view because I can have a look at my big yearly and then I can go, what am I doing this month? And then jot it down day by day in my weekly. I do that typically on a Sunday. Every Sunday, I have a look at what's on the family calendar, what I've got on my big calendar, and break those down. Okay, what am I doing this week? And jot them in my planner. Now, most of you will be using one planner. If you've got things that you do family or your family's really busy, and then you also are running a business or two, in my case, on the side, sometimes it can get overwhelming. And friends, that is why I've gone to 2 planners. I need to segment parts of my day so that I don't get overwhelmed. And that is literally why I decided to go art in one and personal everyday carry in the other, small and achievable. And that is so that I can stop the overwhelm and not get so caught up in, I've not done this today, oh my goodness, you know, and then you start sabotaging yourself. It's about breaking it down and going, so I didn't get to this task today, let me move it to tomorrow, right? I do have a golden rule that if I've moved something 3 times, it's like, why was it there? Because clearly it wasn't a priority. So why was it there? Now, this is where my master to-do list comes in quite handy. You know, and I'm sure you guys do it too. I do my best thinking in the shower, right? So in the morning, I'm in the shower and I'll be, you know, washing my hair and I'll be having all of these amazing ideas about, oh, I should do a collection of, or, oh, that's a great title for a collection, or, oh, I saw something the other day about, you know, and I get out of the shower and I literally write those things straight down. Those things go onto my master to-do list, and those things I look at every Sunday and go, what's that I was thinking about? So it's about getting everything out of your head and down onto paper in a logical form, all right? But it's also about planning your goals and setting yourself up for the best way to kick those goals. So I have just to recap on that, I have my yearly overview, and this, like, I have 2 of these printed. So I printed 2, and I just sent it to my local printer and got it delivered, and the whole thing, like, it was as cheap as anything. It was delivered in 2 days' time. I couldn't believe it. But I am going to sit down ahead of next week and I'm going to be planning out. So the first thing I need to do is go, what are the things that I know I've got on my calendar? I know I'm traveling September and October. I know that I've set myself a goal and I want to sell 100 pieces of work. So how am I going to put those in? What does that look like? So for me, achievably, it's in the first half of the year it's 50, in the second half of the year it's 50, right? That's 100 pieces. But it doesn't actually work like that because I've already taken out 2 months of the year. So it's like, okay, so from January to the end of August, I need to sell 100 pieces. What does that look like? So I'm already working on a collection that's 25. I've got 38 by 10 canvases here that I'm also gessoing. That's 50, okay? So that's the first part. Sort of in my head, achievable. Now I've got to think about what does that next 50 look like? So that is the process that I go through for breaking down my goals. Now, selling art is only one of my goals. You know, we've got personal goals, I've got work goals, you know, I've got goals that I want to do for the organised artist. So it's about putting all of that down and then breaking it out. But, you know, by putting down your big goal and then breaking it down into pieces is how and what does that look like. So on the Facebook group, you'll see that I've actually done a goal calendar for you for January through to December. And it's got 2 goals per page. So if you're, you know, want to do more than 2, just print double of those pages. But I am literally going to be printing those off and I'm going to pop them into a ring binder so that I know what my goals are for the year, and I can make sure that each month that I am getting closer to those and taking the necessary steps and putting them in my planner. So those of you that like the monthly view, that like to take your yearly and put things down on the monthly, this is where you will do it. You'll have a page that looks like that in your planner and you'll just pop it down week by week. So I then, because I was doing this, tried to be a good girl for the month of December. So this little notebook actually started in December. So this is what December looked like. It didn't then have the daily pages, so my daily pages don't start till 1st of January. But that is what a monthly view would look like. So you can see I've got school holidays, I've got gym with Emily, I've got, you know, all of that stuff going on there. So that is literally what I would do on a monthly, is put that there. And then every Sunday go from, okay, what have I got going on this week? And then transpose that to my daily pages. So that is how I would work a monthly view. So literally you're putting things on the daily into your monthly view, and then whatever day it is you decide. For me, a Sunday is logical because my week in my head starts on a Monday. I know some of you in the Northern Hemisphere, a week start on a Sunday. So whatever day works for you, commit to that time, sit down with a cup of tea and go, cup of tea, listen to me, sit down with a cup of tea or a coffee or a glass of wine, whatever, and take what's on your monthly view and transpose that to the daily so that you've got that there every day and you know then what you've already committed to and chunk that time out. So next week when we do goals, I'll be a week into both of these calendars and I'll show you how they're working in practice. So I'm a color coder because I'm a visual person. So I like to see things visually, which is why I've been doing this kind of tracking in the front. What I plan to do is as we move into January, which is here, and as we start on the 1st of January, which is here, so on those time slots, there will be a color code. So I can see what time of day I did each of those tasks. I'm going to give that a try because I quite like that idea to see how I am spending my time when I'm doing what. So typically for me in the morning, it's doing social media, it's posting, it's catching up with all of you guys, and it's seeing what you're doing, it's planning the day ahead, making sure I've got everything done, making sure I know what tasks I've got to do during the day so that I can then make sure that I've set my day up for success. And the sun is just about to shine in my eye, which I thought I was good because it was a lot of cloud cover. I'll just move over a shimmy here. So that is literally breaking down the year to the month to the day, right? Having a master to-do list, and whether that's even, you know, most diaries have blank pages in the back, no matter what system you run, even if it's just a to-do list or a brain dump, call it whatever you want, and add all of that stuff there. So add all of the, you know, somebody talks about a paint color and you're like, oh, I really want to try that. Add it there. And then each Sunday, as you're transposing your, you know, so already you've done your yearly to your monthly. Then on a Sunday, you're going to transpose your monthly to the daily. And go and have a quick look through your master to-do list and your brain dump list and go, I jot down there, is there anything that I can take off that list? My brain dump list, honestly, or my inbox has got books, it's got podcasts, it's got paint colors, it's got, you guys talk about something and I'm writing like crazy. I am a writer, so I write a lot of notes. So you'll see me, you know, half the stuff on that list never sees the light of day. But you know what? I kind of don't know that at the time. It's just stuff I want to remember. So on the daily, just be sure that you've got something that you can carry, that you're checking off your tasks, that you're getting closer to where you want to be, and get used to using it daily. Refer to it. The best planner is one that you look at every day. It's one that you are in constantly. It's one that you're writing in, you're making it own. These aren't Instagram worthy planners, right? I'm not a sticker type person. I'm not a washi tape person. My planners are functional, they're pen. I'm a funny girl. I like a black pen, whether it's a ballpoint, a gel, or my favorite is a fountain pen. I am a black pen person, and literally other than the highlight color for tracking, which I was showing you before, you'd only see me, you know, there's a bit of highlight there around, so newsletters and, you know, like things that I've got to commit to when I've got to get my newsletter out. So that's in here, it's highlighted. I've got the, annual leave from work is highlighted, that's important. So literally it's about, so I normally haven't traditionally used a monthly before. I'm trying to do that here, excuse me, because to be honest, on the, well, you can see, she wasn't happening last year. So I'm trying to do that this year, as opposed to just writing stuff straight in on the day, because then I can see on a month too. The whole purpose of writing everything down is to stop the overwhelm, right? Don't get caught up in the planning process. Find what works for you. The whole purpose of doing this is to stop the overwhelm and to help you break down goals and achieve goals. That is the sole purpose of a planner, all right? So what I say to you, you might walk away and go, oh God, I'm not going to do that. Like, seriously? Excuse me. Find what works for you and make it work for you, as long as you do it daily. And you might start with a system and go, that's rubbish. I'm not liking this at all. Like, I'm not invested in this process. Change it up, change what works for you and make it work for you. And to be honest with you, I'd love to know these. So at coming to the end of each month, so the fourth Friday in each month, we've got some hot seat interviews, and I'm going to be talking to you guys. I'm going to be bringing special guests in, and I'm going to be talking to you guys. And I would love to know how you make these systems work for you. So I do what works for me, and I'll be honest, I change it. You know, I'm moving into a completely new system this year, and I don't know what that looks like, but I'm committing to change. And, you know, I'm happy to share it with you and go, it worked, it didn't work. I'm also doing something else, which I'm going to share with you now as well. And I know that a few of you, since I spoke about this some time ago, so these little diaries here are Hobonichis, and I will put their website on. Word of caution, the shipping from Japan is really expensive. So have a look around. If you like the idea of something small and all in one book, the Hobonichis are fantastic. They have really lightweight paper that is open to taking liquid well, so inks and watercolor, and they are just lightweight and handy and easy to use. I will pop the link in the Facebook group and you can have a look. I think somebody has come on mute and I can't see you, so can I please just ask you to mute while we're still recording, if you wouldn't mind? The other thing that I am committing to is a 5-year. So this little book here is a 5, can you see that with the, yes you can. Okay, so you can see there's 5 years on one page and a blank one on the other. Now, I'll be honest, my sister, who is part of this group, she introduced me when I was in New Zealand recently. She introduced me to these 5-year planners. I knew about Hobonichi because I'd been following planners for a while. I just like to see what people are doing. So I knew about it, but I wasn't familiar with this 5-year. So this starts, can you see that there? Yeah, so this starts tomorrow, and then every day, so you can see that page there is the 20th of January. So on the 20th of January, over 5 years, I'm going to be recording whatever. So I'm going to fess up now. I know Vicky, if I could see her, we'll be laughing. So I have two because, you know, let's not do things by halves here. So one is for personal lives, what we're doing, what's going on the daily in our personal life, and just, you know, family tracking and milestones and just jotting down, sketching, you know, just stuff. The second one that is about to arrive is going to be my business tracker. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to track my art journey over 5 years. Collection ideas, color palettes used, even, you know, social media, what I'm using, what's working, followers, the organized artist, what's going on there. And I wanted to track both of those over 5 years because I think it's going to be really, really interesting. So again, this is a Hobonichi. This is a small one. It's A6. So essentially, it's the same size as that book. It's just got a cover on it. And Vicky, I know, has the larger one as an A5. So Vicky, I might get you to send me a photo of your A5 and I'll pop those up so you can see the difference in the two sizes. I'm not suggesting by any means that you need to go purchase them, but I just wanted to let you know that I was going to do this. I was adding this into my daily routine. And I'm really interested to track, and especially as I'm traveling through 2 months of next year, and we'll be meeting up with a lot of you along the way. I wanted to capture that moment. I really wanted to make sure I jotted that down. And so I thought, what better way to do this? And then when my sister Rachel was showing me this is what I really want to do. And it's actually I'm going to fess her up now. I don't know if she's on the recording. I'll see when I end, but she has two, and I'm like, so it's little, like A6 is little. And I'm like, I'm expecting a lot from a little planner. Sorry, this one. I'm expecting a lot in this small space if I try and do it all in one. So I decided I wanted to keep personal and business separate. So I have two. It's a big commitment. It's a very big commitment, but I'm really looking forward to it. I know there's a lot of journalists here as well. And I do morning pages now. Now, whether I continue that into next year, I'm not sure, but I do love my morning pages. It's the very first thing I do of a morning. And I do love that process. I'm just going to see how it all fits together. Tomorrow morning is the 1st of January. That'll be interesting. I have a chunk of time for my morning routine, so I'm just going to see how all of that fits together. But in going back to planning, it's not a one size fits all. What I do and how I work my planner is different to how everybody else does. My suggestion to you is make it your own. In my art planner, those of you who've been following me for a while know that I also keep track of social media and plan social media. I put a link, so this is a Ring Planner insert. I actually put a link to that in the Facebook group of where I purchased it from, and it's as cheap as chips. It's about $4 or something, and literally it comes blank. You print it out, you just write the month on it. So if you're printing out the diary pages or the goal pages and you wanted to keep a track of your social media, you could also do that and just pop it in a separate divider in with those pages if you wanted to keep it separate and you haven't got a planner. It comes from an Etsy store, and I know that she has a number of sizes available. Just while we talk about planners, so this is a ring bound personal size. So this is the size that this is. The pages are, let me just open to a blank page. So the pages are quite long and skinny with 6 hole punches. Now, I have a single hole punch. I recently have just purchased the 6 hole punch that fits these. But for years, I have just been with a single punch, making a template of this and then just punching the holes in. Or I have been buying the inserts from May's Paper Co. She's Australian, so May is in Adelaide in South Australia. And I've been using her inserts for years. I love them. They're no fuss, they're minimalistic, and they're just, I can write and go. If I can't find, or if she doesn't have something I want, then I'll go to Etsy and I'll look for it in a personal size, purchase that, print it at home myself, double-sided. So like with these social media ones, when I printed them, I literally just double-sided them so that you can see that they just flow on, oops, as I'm ripping the page out, they just flow on from one to the next. Just double-side it and pop it into your folder or whatever it is. I know one of the girls on here was saying she was going to print them out and just put them in a 3-ring binder or a 2-ring binder. Absolutely perfect. That is what I'm going to do with my goal tracking as well, is I'll be printing that out and popping it in a binder so that each month I can have a look at those and break those tasks down into my planners. So where does this all end up? Planning is whatever it is you want it to be. It's however it is you need it to be to work for you, whether you do yearly, monthly, weekly, daily, whether you do the whole lot, whether you just do some, whether you just do yearly and then weekly, or daily as I'm doing with my small everyday carry with me. And it's literally, I'm doing that daily because I want to keep track of my husband's appointments, my daughter's school, her sport, and then, I've got a big chunk of time in the middle where I'm on my electronic calendar for work. So none of my work stuff comes into my personal diaries and planners unless it's a chunk of time. If I'm at a conference or something like that, then I can't do what I would normally do. So I chunk that time out and it's work conference. Literally make it work for you, play around with it. And that was the purpose that I put together those pages and pop them in the Facebook group so that you can print, you can play, you can go, this is what I like, this is what works for me. And then you can just print those pages and use them each month in a binder. And then next year, when you're looking for your planners, or if you haven't purchased one already this year, like, let's face it, after January, they get pretty cheap. You can then go, this is what I'm looking for in a planner. I want to make sure it has the yearly calendar overview at the front. I want to make sure it has a monthly grid. I want to make sure it's weekly, or I want to go a thicker version and it's daily. So it gives you an idea to play, to plan, and just figure out what works for you. As I discover more, or as I start purchasing more, or I try new things, I have added that Ali's products, what I use, and I'll just keep adding links in there and tell you what I've done and what I'm using it for, and I'll take photos. But honestly, if you've got any questions about any of this, drop them below the recording once it's posted, and we can go from there. So I'm going to push stop recording now, and we will come back to speaker view.